The first ever home in the world to be lit up with electricity, welcoming visitors on a festive trip back to the Victorian age. In a one-of-a-kind display, Appleton's Hearthstone Historic House Museum shares stories of how Christmas began in the English-speaking world. Drew Best has a look at the unique holiday display in tonight's Countdown to Christmas.
In one of Northeast Wisconsin's most historic buildings, museum curators decked the halls with holiday artifacts symbolizing the early beginnings of Christmas as we know it.
Everything that we do in our current secular celebration, from Christmas trees to Christmas ornaments, Christmas presents, Christmas wrapping, Christmas carols, Christmas wreaths, Christmas cards, Christmas turkey dinner, all of it is invented by the Victorians.
Every weekend during the holidays, the Hearthstone teaches visitors the ways English speakers first celebrated Christmas, as told by Victorian-age reenactors.
They kind of didn't really know what they were doing when they initially started celebrating Christmas, so a lot of that stuff is really funny to kind of learn about, of them figuring out, okay, Queen Victoria celebrates Christmas, how do we celebrate Christmas?
We didn't have like Target or like places to buy, the regular Christmas ornaments. So they decorated with nature, which like kind of roots in our garlands and like things we still do today.
This year's Victorian Christmas experience features 17 trees of all different shapes, sizes, and orientation, plus thousands of handmade decorations that are unique to this year's display.
For our family, it's not Christmas yet until we've come to Hearthstone.
Dozens of people from across Northeast Wisconsin stepping into the Hearthstone each weekend to take in the 19th century style celebration.
I love seeing how they do things differently, how it's lit differently, and all the traditions they had in Victorian times. And I love all the old stuff.
Just being able to be here with my family and create such a beautiful tradition in such a beautiful place is honestly magical.
It may not have been easy figuring out how to celebrate Christmas in the beginning, but one thing people learn at the Hearthstone is that not much has changed. Reporting in Appleton, Drew Best, Action 2 News.